Hey y'all,
Hi.
we are a day early in our recording, and I feel it. I just want to warn people that generally I process all of my meanest takes with Sandra before we record, and I have not done that. So we're gonna see what happens.
It will be an adventure for all, I'm sure.
How was y'all week?
I had an interesting week, work-wise. I'm still ready to quit at any moment. I'm just kidding. Not because of who I work with, but because of what I do. But it's been an interesting work week, and I got to see Fantastic Beasts. So I'm wearing my Harry Potter love shirt. So that was great.
I have on my Daria shirt, and it says, "I'm overcome with emotion."
Even though you don't look like that.
That's the vibe. That's really my weekend vibe.
Overcome with emotion.
Yeah, I mean, I was basically just like a troll all week. And I start a new job on Monday, so I was just being extra mischievous during the week. Because I need to behave myself at least for a little bit once I start working, because I've been consulting for like 4 years now. So I have neither had a boss nor been anyone's boss in a minute. I just told people how to do that. So it's gonna be flexing some old muscles. Hopefully it'll be like riding a bike or a horse, or I'm so bad at idioms.
I'm hoping the rumor that they're looking into a 4-day work week is true. But in my line of business, it doesn't matter. I'll have to work all the time. But when I get out of my line of business, I hope that's all ready so I can get into that whole 4-day work week thing, because it sounds nice.
It's perfect. It's the dream.
What a dream.
Actually, my real dream is a 0-day work week, but I am not independently wealthy.
I would just love to be like a culture critic. You know what I'm saying? Like, take our critical eye from General Hospital and just put it everywhere. I love to judge. Someone said on this the last call I was on, they were like, I like to judge and eat. And I was like, is that a job? Like, oh no, those are your hobbies. Cause like I would love that to be a job.
When I found out there was a such thing as an ice cream taster, I was like, what? You get paid to just do that?
I was a Sonic taste tester and they paid me in Sonic gift cards. Oh. It was one of the perks of living in Oklahoma City, the home of Sonic.
Home of Sonic.
I need commercials for this podcast. I need Tanya's glasses to give us a commercial. Right. I need Sonic. You know what I'm saying? Like, we make so many references to The Office. Come on, NBC, Peacock, give us something.
Yeah, movie studios, because I'd be hyping up your movies a weekend.
That's right.
Lipstick.
The Flash.
Yeah.
The lipstick is every week. Every week. Well, that's how we
print clothing.
Yes. Yes. The leopard print clothing. Thank you for noticing.
Always.
So are y'all ready?
To do that. So I always notice.
There you go. Are y'all ready for this lackluster recap? It's lackluster because I did not work very hard on it. Apologies.
I'm gonna need for you to never call it lackluster again, and then I will accept it.
Thank you. All right, here we go. Dante talks with Jordan about their shared belief that Trina is innocent. At the same time, Carly encourages Sam to use her relationship with Dante to get information on the case. My favorite is that Carly was like, "You're sleeping with the cop," and Sam was like, Caroline, that's my man." Hashtag Dante. Dante takes Sam to the Metro Court for dinner, and it clearly was a mistake because Dante could get no rest. Everybody was running up on him. Ava talks to him about Trina. Lisa talks to him about Sunny. Sam guesses his password for his phone, which is Rocco, which Dante, get your shit together, dude. And she forwards a forensic file from Officer Rory to her own phone. Dante busts her up, and they have a conversation about trust in their relationship. Dante did his best. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And it actually did hurt worse, to be honest. Sunny, aka Mike Reeves, sells Charlie's to Phyllis for $100. I personally think it's $100 she should have gotten from Nina because of the Tano being burnt down on Nina's watch, but I digress. Also, where is Christina? I digress again. Anyway, robbers run in and give Sunny and Nina a chance to show that Nina can handle a life of violence. And Brando runs in as the new Jason and saves the day. The stress of it all causes Sasha to dry swallow pills. Carly shows up the next day and basically calls Sunny a little B for his relationship with Nina and asks if his enemies are targeting him because of it. She does find out from Phyllis that there's a connection between Harmony and Nina, so the plot thickens. My favorite of Liz's kids, Aiden, talks with Lucy Coe about ghosts in the spirit world as he contemplates buying both a Ouija board and a blender because of the conversation he had with Jake. I'm also curious where he's gotten money for this blender because being poor is a character trait of his family. So I don't know, maybe Laura bought it. Speaking of Liz, Chase and Finn are making decisions about how to keep her safe. Chase will sleep during the day and monitor her at night. Like a what? A vampire. He has installed cameras in the house. Joss and Cam try to have sexy time, but they are paranoid about being watched. Cam finds out he cannot have his summer job at Lila's Kids because of the sex tape. Poor Cam. We find out from a daydream at the gallery, the Sprina gallery, that Spencer does indeed have a plan. We did not say it was a good plan, but he does have a plan to save Trina, and that he is falling in love with her, as we already knew. He shares his plan with Cam. That's quite a brain trust, and they are going to keep it from Trina and Joss. What could possibly go wrong? We also see a little moment between Trina and Officer Officer Rory at Kelly's, and the return of one of my favorite friendships between Joss and Trina, or Tross. Willow and Michael are seen talking with Smoltz on their anti-Nina piece. The reporter did say he has to give Nina equal time to respond, and so did Alexis. And he runs into Nina, and she goes back to go off on Milo. Finally, my favorite, Harmony the murderess. She murders all my least faves, and she looks damn good doing it. This time, it was Neil's creepy ass brother for trying to blackmail her, which let me just get on my Harmony apologist, okay? Had Neil's brother just taken that money and got a monthly payout, like a bill, he would still be alive today. It's because he was greedy, because Harmony put that needle up. But anyway, shout out to the Cliff that took out Neil's brother. You are my performer of the week. And that's all. How was the week for y'all?
You did a little bit of hot takes and recap. I was like, what we gonna talk about now?
Well, like, I just want to comment on the recap. I thought it was Lester full.
Oh no, it was full.
It was full of Lester.
I thought you were gonna say it was full of lust, and I was like, it wasn't Lester. Got it. Watching Bridgerton, it was in my head.
That's what was full of lust. The week was short because we were preempted one day. So I actually thought the week was pretty good. It was an improvement for sure. I don't know, maybe if it was just because it was shorter. No, but I felt like and I'm sure we'll talk about this more, the sex tape storyline turned around a little bit in ways that I really needed it to. So I was pleased with that. I didn't love everything, but the overall direction I liked. And there were lots of good moments throughout the week. A lot of plot continues to not make sense, but I can't let that ruin all my fun. So yeah, about the week.
I thought the week was okay. It was short. Kind of feel like Friday was probably supposed to be Thursday, but it still had enough drama thanks to Harmony and her murder scene. But it was all right. There was a lot that pissed me off. And there's some that, cheered me. So maybe it was better than what I think it was. Maybe because I was more pissed off than happy that I didn't think it was that great. I don't know. It was hard. But I have to confess something. I do watch the others, and there are times when the others are more intriguing. And so this is like one of these times right now. The others are just off the charts with their story. So maybe that's why I'm kind of doing a comparison and contrast.
What's the others?
Oh, Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful.
Oh,
I watched Days. So
yes,
we're over here.
Okay. So I'm feeling like I feel guilty. I don't know why, but I just like, damn it, Young and the Restless is great. And Bold and the Beautiful, oh my God, shocker. And then I'm just like, oh, but I'm supposed to be, watching General Hospital and loving that all the time. I don't. It actually kind of ebbs and flows because sometimes General Hospital is great. And then I fast forward a lot during Young and the Restless. And then sometimes Young and the Restless is great. And then I'm like, okay, GH, it's all right. So. But unfortunately, this week, General Hospital, Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful are knocking it out the park.
I don't watch those shows, so I would have no way of knowing. But I do watch Days, and I'm like a lifelong. I was like watching Days in the womb, so it is really interesting to be back. And Days does such a really good job of legacy characters and like keeping people on, people coming back. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like Sean and Belle, who Kristen Storm used to be Belle. And that was like my teen scene when I was a teen, like we're around the same age. And a girl who was like a foil for them in like 2001 is like a foil for them now. And so just like the continuity is like they really keep people around, which as like a person who kind of like just dipped back in is like really fun to see. And it's also that GH is like my home, you know what I'm saying? Like I have so many expectations of it, and despite being a lifelong Days person in and out, I feel like I'm visiting Days. And so I don't have to get like as annoyed or upset when they like do something I don't care for.
Yeah, I feel that way about The Bold and the Beautiful because I only been watching it for like 2 years. But yeah, so I would say it's a tie as far as my home between Young and the Restless and General Hospital.
Yeah.
But do we want to talk about favorite moments?
Oh, y'all do we do favorite moments or performer of the week? See, this is what happens when we perform
we haven't done performer, or we haven't done favorite moments.
Yes.
Favorite moments yet. So
yes, let's do it.
Who wants to go first? I always like want to go after because then I do my performers after I'm done with my favorite. So
Mhm.
Yes, that sounds good. That's what we call a transparent facilitation moment.
There we go.
I can start. My favorite moment was Harmony killing Neil's brother.
He had it coming.
He had it coming.
coming. Let's make a song. He had it coming. I always do that. You guys don't know that about me, but I be singing my life. So
I do know.
We were singing the Chicago song. We were singing the
Cell Block Tango.
Cell Block Tango, which, you know, could, again, we don't want to get caught on some copyright shit. So maybe we do need to make up our own song. But yes, I definitely sang He Had It Coming. I definitely was yelling the whole episode. Kill him, Harmony. I loved how big that fucking needle was. My God. It was like the size of my arm.
I was like, what? How much drugs do you have?
Are you trying to date an elephant?
you want to make sure he was dead.
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 She was like going to, and does she use Sasha's dealer? Did she go to Sasha's dealer and was like, I need enough heroin to kill an elephant. And I need a very intimidating looking, insidious looking needle.
Right.
And she delivered. I loved how chic it looked in her purse with her little compact. I loved her manicure still looks amazing. Skin, dewy, hair. Straight fading into the background because of the green screen. The green screen was quite unfortunate, but because they kind of looked like they were ghosts, it was very strange. But I could overlook all of that because of like the whole, like she got to strangle him a little bit. She threw him off the cliff, the look of regret. I just loved all of it. I appreciate, again, I talked about this last week, but I love that Harmony is a character that does bad things, but is like, has a conscience. So she was gonna stick him with the needle, and then she was like, oh, Michael and Willow did just say that, like, I've really turned my life around, and like I'm this like example for how a grandmother should be in a redemption arc. Like, maybe I'll just let this man blackmail me for the rest of my life. But no, like you said, Tracy, he got greedy. And he did not have a long game in mind. So sure, she killed his brother, but like, whatever.
I love the like
go into a detailed justification about it. Just like, whatever. It entertained the shit out of me. And I appreciate, so I rarely go into the GH tag. It's like a resilience technique for myself. I just don't want to know what's going on in there most of the time. But I was like, I am curious about what people thought about this moment and like what it meant for Harmony's character. And I tell you what, people loved it. People loved it. And it was interesting because the people who hated it or like were the most upset about it were Nina fans. Because they were like, see, you all think she's a better grandmother than Nina, or
and
like,
what about it?
Other than Nina, and like we're going through the whole laundry list of Nina's crimes, or of Harmony's crimes, and trying to compare her and Nina. And I was just like,
she is a better grandmother than Nina.
I have just gotten to the point where I'm like, the way I view soap operas is that I never have to like justify my fave.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that happened, and what? Like, what are we like? Who cares? What are we gonna do about it? So yes, Harmony is a murderess, and I still like it. There was somebody, like, there was this whole thing I had posted because people were comparing or like calling Michael and Willow like hypocrites for like not wanting Harmony around and for like cheating on or like going behind Chase's back. and comparing that to what Nina did with Sunny. That's not the same thing. And I think Sandra pointed this out. Just because you've done bad things doesn't mean that you're supposed to stand by and let bad things happen to you. Every single person on the soap is a hypocrite. Like, that's just like the nature of watching it. So like the hypocrite allegation, I actually don't even care about. So I had like said, like, I think I tweeted from my main account, like, yeah, like it's not comparable. Like what Nina did to Sunny and his family is not comparable. And somebody was like trying to argue me down. I think they were like just a Milo fan, which but they were like trying to argue me down because they were a Milo fan. And they were like, you have to remember Chase did blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's actually not a matter of me not knowing history. I'm really clear. I've watched the same show you have watched, probably like more closely than you've watched it. And the reality is I don't care. I just like Chase better. Like there's like, it's just like a point where you don't have to like justify behavior. I just like them better.
Yep. And I just like Harmony. I just
like Harmony.
Better. I think she is, she's my wife. I love her, and I'll stand by my woman.
And I will stand up in your wedding because I love it. Like, yeah, she is a murderess. What is your point? She looked great doing it.
She looked amazing.
The only note I had is that you shouldn't have looked regretful after you pushed him.
I know. I was like, oh, Harmony, it's okay. It'll be fine.
Well, my favorite moment, let me like admit that I have been very much team Spencer doesn't have a plan.
Yes.
I was like, that boy is dumb. Like, he doesn't have a plan. And this week we were proven wrong. Now, the plan is dumb.
Yes. And he is still dumb.
And he is still very dumb. But I'm really glad that I was like angry at him before and embarrassed by him, to be honest. Like, I cannot believe that my child will be doing this. Like, not believing my Trina. Now I'm like, okay, he got a plan. It's dumb. I'm still a little mad at you, but I'm funny mad at you, which is a much better place to be at with Spencer. So for me, my favorite moment was the gallery scene. I mean, just like the seamless transition of Sprina, like this is their gallery, watching like that, like the kind of passion he still has for her, the like dream sequence of like telling her that he was falling in love with her. It was like necessary for me to see to get me over like my mad at Spencer hump. I'm like, again, I'm still mad at him because he dumb. Like, boy, you cute, but you dumb. But I did I did really enjoy the moment and really enjoyed seeing like that chemistry between him and Taviana as Trina. So that's like one. And then two, Chase getting out of the shower was my favorite moment. It was a preview. I'm like, yes. The only question I have is like, why wasn't Brooklyn there? Like, just bang it out. Why are we doing this? Hashtag just do it.
Just do it.
So those are my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Well, and me not being apologetic about anything, Spencer pissed me off all weekend. And I tweeted about it. I said, the plan, the montage dream of where he declares his love for her, it was nice, but it was not enough because I was still pissed off by his behavior towards Trina and what he said to her. Like, I was triggered by it. The fact that he's like, you can't continue to blame Esme for everything that's wrong with your life. I was like, fuck you. I was so pissed off at that. And it just totally negated the scene before where he's like, I believe you, I'm in love with you, and they were about to kiss. It was like, I totally forgot about it after he said that because I was so pissed off at him. And I don't know if I want to categorize that as my favorite scene because it actually is, again, a gift of the actor to be able to pull that out of me, right? But I hated it. I hated it so much. I think, but I love the scene between the two. I was so mad. I was wished that, Trina slapped him instead of just pushed him, because that would have been epic to see Spencer get slapped like hecka hard, right? And see what happens. But I think I would put it under a favorite scene because it brought out those emotions for me. And like, again, I usually give kudos and performances that bring out really strong emotions in me. Another favorite scene of mine was yes, I agree, Harmony killing off dude. That was great. It made me feel good about life. Also, I actually have to give it up to Kate McMullen and Willow for standing up to Nita, because I love that. I was like, yes, tell that bitch off finally. And I do agree. I thought Caitlin looked good in her little pink little dress and stuff in her hair. She looked great doing it. Yes. So that was a great scene. But then I also had some really cute scenes. I thought new guy Rory is so
fresh. Every time I see him, I like swoon a little bit. It's like, I'm like, he's so handsome.
I can confirm. That's exactly what she does.
Yeah. And so people are like weirded out by the age range, but he also sounds hecka young too. So it's like, okay, he could be in that young group. But to me, he sounds like, but he's so cute and adorable and a fan of Trina. So I love it. And then poor Dante. I was so hurt for him. I wanted to go into the scene and hug him and be like, I would never do that to you. I know your phone is like, I would never, ever. And then give him a hug and then take him away. But anyway, that's where
you're putting up on Sante. Sorry, Sante listeners. I'm sorry.
So hurt for him.
I'm sorry, Sante listeners. But if Tanya got to walk in on General Hospital, I'm shipping Tante. You know what I'm saying?
Tante.
Well, yeah, Tante.
But yeah, that also brought out that emotion in me. So those are my favorite actually I didn't like that for Sante, but it was actually a really great scene. And so hug. So those were my favorite moments. And so I want to give performances. Actually, I want to give a shout out to the teen scene all together as an ensemble, because they were great. The scenes with Trina and Spencer in the gallery, the scenes with Spencer and Cam, the scene with Rory being adorable. So yeah, adding Rory to the teen scene, that whole thing, that's my performers of the week. Also want to give a shout out to Inga Cadrano. I don't know how to say her last name, but yes, murder, awesome. And yes, shout out to Caitlin McMullen for yelling at Nina, finally. We're probably going to talk about more of Wiley's adults when we get into the deep dive, but those are my performers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the teen scene just constantly shows up. I have really enjoyed them. And I appreciate that this story has given Eden and William like room to like flex and be in a more adult storyline. And it's really found, I think, William's sweet spot, which is like this like adversary to Spencer, this like really great friend to Trina. I have always loved the Katrina friendship. I've never really wanted more from it, but I've always loved the friendship. And so seeing that come back is like really, I think, important and like showing the power of the ensemble. And I think, I don't know if you tweeted this or not, Sandra, but like just like seeing the four of them without Esme was a game changer. You know what I'm saying? Like yes, this is the scene that we should go with. Esme is like the foil, but we don't always have to see her. And so I'm sure that like having a full-time trainer means that we probably will see a little bit more of that, or at least that's what I'm hoping. But the team scene is, and like let Esme be there, but I want to see her in scenes with Ryan and kind of like sneaking around doing other things that's not just like foiling the team scene in their faces, but foiling them behind their backs.
Yeah. I I agree. And actually that's my what's working on the show right now is like kind of like the Four Musketeers 2.0, right? The original Four Musketeers were Liz, Lucky, Nicholas, and Emily. And without making direct parallels to who is who and but also like obviously these are also the offspring of a lot of those original Four Musketeers, and I appreciate getting to return back to them for an episode without Esme, because we actually haven't had that since Esme came on the scene. And a lot of what made this teen scene exciting were those four relationships and them kind of finding their footing amongst each other. And I love the drama, not all of it, but I love the overall that there is so much more drama and adult storyline now that Esme is in the mix, even if I don't like the details of it a lot of the time. But it's also like we have missed out on some of those friendship moments because of all the drama, especially lately. I mean, you just look at the last few weeks alone have been a drudge, right? Of like, literally everyone's miserable. And so getting to see Joss and Trina, the sisters before misters, and then Laura's sweet simple grandsons, Cam and Spencer. I really, really love those scenes. And I love the Sprina scene so much. But I think I loved it more after those scenes were over. Like I needed the comedic relief that we got and that kind of like release of tension that happened with those friendship scenes. I love how natural Tabiana and Eden are together. It's just seamless.
Yeah,
and it's
really good.
It's not like the exact same, obviously, as Sydney and Eden. It's like they're building their own thing that still very much honors the Joss and Trina friendship that we know and love. So I loved how natural they were, like eating the French fries and, you know, doing the whole thing. And Kelly's, I loved Trina's re-entrance into Kelly's. That moment was really beautiful, beautifully shot, beautifully acted, both by Tabiana as kind of like the central point of that scene, but also Eden coming up behind her. And it was just like supporting her, ushering her in. Oh, I'm getting a little emotional just thinking about it. Loved seeing Joss go off on Rory. Laughed my ass off through that entire scene. It was so great because we had, you know, Joss doing her Joss thing in a way that's was cute and sweet and like protective versus like the last time they were at Kelly's when I was annoyed at her.
Right.
And I loved also getting to see the little sly looks between like Rory and Trina kind of looking at each other. And then all of this juxtaposed with Cam and Spencer. Oh my God. First of all, Cam going off on Spencer.
Necessary.
No notes. It was so good. Great job, William. Oh my God. When he was like, "You're a disgusting girlfriend," I was like, right. Cameron is grown now. Okay. He's not a little boy anymore. He's grown. And I love their connection. Their scenes together are always so good. They bring out a lot of wonderful things in each other in these performances. And I love that they will always give each other so much shit. And you can tell that they really love each other. And that they're both family and they're friends, and how that can become really complicated between them sometimes. I also, they're so stupid. This plan is so dumb. But this is the kind of dragging of Cam and Spencer that I love to do. people. And like Tracy, you were talking about how like this is changing like the kind of anger you have towards Spencer. And I feel the same way where I'm like, I love to drag Spencer. I love it. I've done it all along since he was a child. And it's like the dragging for this kind of stuff of like, you stupid boy, what are you doing? Why are you being so extra all the time? Like, this is not necessary. Like, tell someone you need help. You are not cut out for this, my friend.
You are not a planner.
You are not a planner. And I still stand by everything I said before I found out that he had a plan. But I love dragging Cam and Spencer for being stupid teenage boys.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy to like kind of shift back to that orientation. So that was why, for me, that was like the standout kind of ensemble, just like you named, Tanya. And I think that was what really worked for me this week and made my opinion of the week overall much more high.
Yeah. I would say, a lot of times we've heard so much, I think, about the Trina and Josh friendship of people. Like, I've always been a fan of it, but there's been like this, Josh hasn't been there for Trina. Their friendship is one-sided. And I really appreciated that this scene like really pushed back on that. It was Trina's point of view. It was Jocelyn, who's going through a hard time, also like acknowledging and recognizing that her friend is also going through a difficult time, and actually saying, would I be hanging with you if I thought you did this? This is also about like a public display of support for you. That is so important in that friendship and so important in their dynamics. And I think that they just handled so well. The writing for it was really good. The execution and the acting was really good. For Spencer and Cameron, so dumb. But I love what you said about them being teenage boys, because sometimes, like we want them to have adult stories, but we also want to remember that they're teenagers and they're young. And so the stupidness is like this like comic relief that we needed to like say, all right, like I've been mad at you, but seeing Cameron just be like, we gonna do what now? Like, it's just so good. And for him to like call Spencer out and be like, oh, did you just want to be her hero, Spence? Oh, you have feelings, huh? And just like him hanging his head like, yeah, got feelings.
Dumb. So stupid.
Yeah. That's essentially what's working for me too. All the things that you guys said. I loved how, just from the very moment that Joss went to Trina at the galleries because she saw something in her text that Trina was upset. So she knew she was there to comfort Trina. And I loved the opening scene between Cam and Spencer when, Cam was like, you did this at the, you denounced Trina, and Spencer was like, how did you know about that? And Cam was like, because we're friends. That's what friends do, is they tell each other things. And so it really highlighted the Katrina relationship between Cam and Trina, saying that Trina confides in all three of them, Joss, Cam, and Spencer. And so Spencer is just like, he almost was like myopic in his view about Trina. It's just about him and Trina, and that's not true. So that was great. All of it was lovely. And even, I liked seeing, so far Cam had minimal kind of fallout with the video, but now this time we saw that he lost a job because of it. And now he's, feeling the effects, as well as understanding that Joss is the main victim of this, but he's also feeling it too. And so pointing out to Spencer how what Esme has done has affected all of the teens and not just him, was also great. So loved it. Yeah.
I'm also like, don't the Quartermains own Lila's kids? Can somebody make a call for him? Like, what's going on? Get my boy's job back.
That kind of goes into what's not working for me. If you, unless you guys are ready to.
I have one thing that's working for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Crew. I actually, so I've said many times, I've actually been a fan of Laura Wright and Cameron Matheson's like chemistry for years. When they did like the crossovers of like, you remember it was like Todd and Spelly on a plane and Maxie and Rex from One Life to Live, and it was like Erica Kane meets Luke. And so they had one where Carly Corinthos met Ryan Lavery. And I was like, oh, like, okay. And so I've been a fan of their chemistry since then. I actually, again, have said many times, I don't really see Ryan Lavery as Drew. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just is not Drew to me. So I don't have the attachment to like the Sam Drew relationship. I would if like it was Billy Miller. And so I really have been a fan of like watching like the friendship of crew turn into like some flirting. And their chemistry is just very cute. Cameron Matheson like has chemistry kind of all over the place because he's very game show hosty. But there is like a shyness almost that he has in his, like that Drew and Carly have in their dynamic. She, you know, I have not been a fan of Carson. I just haven't. And Sunny has felt very checked out of that relationship. When they did Jarly, Jason felt very checked out of that relationship. And so I really like for Carly to have someone who seems to really like her and is like impressed by her and is a person who highlights her best characteristics instead of like enabling her worst. Because that's the thing about like, and I appreciated that the scene that they had this week, they didn't mention Jason at all. Finally a scene where they don't talk about Jason. Like, they're gonna have to like get over that piece of it. And so I'm hopeful that we'll see more of like her being supportive of him and like Drew actually having some point of view, because he very rarely does. So I'm hoping that we see a little bit of that in their relationship. And I also hope that it is not a spoiler for Car Sam, which I love. Like, I hope that she is like honest with Sam the way she should have been when she married Jason, and like talks to her about the feelings and talks to her about the relationship, and that actually just like further confirms Sante as a relationship, for Sam to be like, actually do your thing, girl. I mean, you know, that's too much to ask for a soap, but that's what I want in my heart. And yeah, I love the slowness of it. I love that Carly is focusing on her kids and her family right now, while also like having this like friendship and relationship that seems to be growing with Drew. And I think the chemistry is as it should be. So that's working for me.
Yeah, it was cute. When he ran up on when she tried to intervene with the Sante fight, and he just like grabbed her and was like, no. I loved that. I laughed. I giggled. I thought it was funny. Good on Drew for, you know, also being like a good co-parent and being like, you know what? Why don't we stay out of my ex-wife's business? Thank you. They are together. Why don't we have a beer and let's like chill out? And I still continue to feel conflicted about Ryan Lavery as Drew. I just try to dissociate and say that's not Drew, but sometimes I do get confused, like when Sunny yelled at Drew at the Savoy. I was like, that's how dare you. So I'm very selective about when he's Drew and when he's not. But I thought that was a really like well executed moment, and I liked the contrast too between Crew and Sante. I thought it was nice. Yeah. So Tanya, I know you're dying to talk about.
I know. Before I talk about what's not working, I do have something that's working that I noticed this week. I'm liking how these characters who aren't main characters are actually really impacting the story and having some great scenes. So, for example, I don't like Schultz as a person, but he's really impacting Schultz. So I don't know whatever his name is. Smoltz. But he's been having some really great scenes with some really great pairings. And so shout out to him, and shout out to you know, the brother. Is his name Brandon?
Brandon, yeah.
Yeah.
IP is his name.
Yeah. annoying, menacing, hateful, but he had really great scenes with Hinga on a Friday. Very dramatic. And then, Rory, cute. It's just, but just like having these characters that aren't main characters, but they're really big parts of the story was really great to see. So shout out to GH for doing that.
Yeah, I think
giving actors a chance.
I think that Rory's gonna hopefully transition into maybe being main. So that's exciting to like see his build up.
Yeah.
And Smoltz is actually really, the actor who plays him is really funny on Twitter. He found like some of our tweets. I wrote, tweeted from our account something like, I'm ready for Ryan to unalive him. Like I'm just ready. And he like responded to it. I'm like, well, damn, now I kind of like you. But come back as somebody who's not sketchy and we won't wish you dead.
Yeah, he's funny. I mean, like, it's like he's annoying, but he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And he's been really holding his own with Nancy, and I like their dynamics very funny, and I just appreciate, GH does a really great job of casting. So even our like, Rory is a contract player, but these like recurring day players have been so good. I mean, because we talked about Johan Victor's goon, how great he is, and so I shout out to our supporting day players or our like lesser seen recurring characters.
Holding their own.
Shout out to friend of the show Jen for breaking the Rory news. It's always going to be one of my favorite things that ever happened on sub Twitter.
Rorygate.
Okay, so what's not working? Okay.
Ooh, tell us.
What's not working for me is all of the adults who are talking about, oh, we got to do something for Trina. We got to prove Trina is innocent. We got to do this. And they're just talking about it. They're not doing it. And I'm like,
yep.
Stop talking. Where's the plan? Where's the investigation? I'm super pissed at PCPD talking about, oh, well, our forensics came in and it was just bad. I was like, that was a bad forensics. You did not go far enough. You're just looking at the fingerprints of the phone. Why not trace how the phone was bought? GPS, where the phone was when the whole thing went down. All of that, it's just half-assed. And they just keep talking. And I was like, I need you to stop talking. I need you to do. Because this girl is about to go to jail. And you guys keep talking about how horrible it is, but you're not doing anything. And I'm just like, I'm done. I mean, that's why Spencer and Cameron have to come into action and do their stupid little plan, because the adults aren't doing shit.
Tanya, you're reading my mind. I had two things that were not working, and that was one of them. Every time I see Spinelli on screen and he's not working. Okay, so you know how if you see somebody who owes you money having a good time?
Oh, no.
You like, don't you have money to go earn that you like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about Spinelli being out in public. Don't you have something that you should be doing? You and Brick?
Mm-hmm.
How is a teenager with a burner phone beating you right now? Go work. Leave Austin and Maxie alone. I don't ship it either. Leave it alone though. Get out of the gym and go to work.
I mean, it was nice to see the character, but see him doing the work that we need him to do. Where's the computer?
See him at a computer.
Sam, being like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna trace this and we're gonna do this and pretend typing on the computer. That's what we want to see.
I want to see like CSI Criminal Minds level, like hacker in a basement from Spinelli, and that's it.
We need a
I don't want you to see.
Right.
I don't want to see Spinelli seeing the light of day until Trina is free.
Right. Love seeing Scotty at the restaurant, but he needs to be in investigation mode, hiring a private investigator, figuring this shit out, figuring out his defense for Trina. I don't want it to be behind the scenes and assumed. We want to see this being done and seeing that the community actually cares to get her out of jail instead of talking about getting her out of jail.
That's why I love my girl Samantha. He was like, what you doing? She was like, forwarding this forensic report.
Y'all ain't doing your job. I mean, I hate that she broke Dante's heart, but I'm glad she's moving forward. She's trying to do something.
Listen, if she's going to break Dante's heart for any reason, it's going to be exonerating Trina.
Okay.
At least someone's doing something.
At least
Samantha's
someone-
like, this seems to be moving rather slowly. So when are we exonerating Trina?
Like, what are we doing?
What are we
What are we
doing?
doing?
Although, Taggart ran out the PCBD and he's been running ever since.
Like, what's he? He's like, I'm gonna do this. Like, all right. What are you doing?
Like the Nicholas Chavez squat bay meme, just like out of breath somewhere. Like, damn, what was I doing? Where's Taggart? Why is he still running?
He's still running.
We're just like Valentine in the trunk forever. Like, just drop everything. So now Taggart's running.
Oh my God.
So something that's not working for me is not only Sona, but also some of their fandom. Because let me tell you something. If your fandom depends on you going after the previous person's ex, and that's it, all I'm saying is some of y'all talk about Carly more than me, and it's giving Stan. It's giving, dear Carly, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. That's what it's giving. I was an OG J Sammer. You know who I was never worried about? Spencer's incubator, Courtney. I was
Right.
never worried about Courtney in my ship because my ship stood on its own. Sona, your ship isn't even the Titanic. J Sam was a Titanic, and I played on the Titanic until the ship went down into the harbor. Okay? That was the Titanic. Sona, you are a replica of the Titanic. Not even interesting enough to have Leonardo DiCaprio in your shit. Okay? You're not interesting. It's just not good. It's not good. I saw like a bunch of the fandom being like making fun of Carly's dress.
I loved Carly's dress. She looked fly.
I did not love her dress, but
Oh, I loved it.
I did not love her dress, but every time I look up, because like a lot of this, I have a lot of it muted or whatever. It's like if I just like peruse the GH tag, it's the same people talking the same stuff. I'm like, is your ship that sad? Don't answer. I know your ship is that sad. You should like, and it's like the Nina apologism for me. You could have a fave, and when they do bullshit, say they're doing bullshit. Just say it. The Nina's character like brings out people having to apologize for nothing, for like ridiculous shit. You know, like people, and then like they try to like talk you down. So people were like, well, Michael and Willow are just being petty. Probably. And what about it? Like, what are we talking about? Yes, probably. And like comparing again what Willow and Michael did to Chase to like what Nina did, not the same comparison. I actually hated it. I hated what Willow did to Chase, and I actually wanted Chase to have like a little mean streak to them. I'm sad they didn't allow that to happen. And doing that versus like keeping someone away from their family for months is not the same thing. I appreciate that even Phyllis was like, yeah, Nina do be on that bullshit, but I'm gonna stick beside her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
even Phyllis knew. So I'm not really clear as to what they're doing with the character. I know that we'll talk a little bit more about it in our deep dive because we're going to deep dive into another maternity storyline. But it's just not working. And I think that the nastiness around some of the fandom is just like even worse. Like, my God, y'all. Like, I'm like, it's like the very same people who are calling like Joss Mini Cujo. I'm like, is this like the personality that you are developing for yourself? Find something to uplift about your ship. I know it's difficult.
Is that the values that you want to impart? Listen to your fave because she don't appreciate on values not being imparted.
When I look at the Wiley adult storyline, I'm just like, I want both teams to lose. I want for Milo to destroy Nina. And then I want for Milo to implode.
Yes.
Period.
And I want her and Alexis to have custody of Wiley.
Give
Sure.
Wiley back to Brad and Lucas.
With Brad and Lucas, with Lucas.
So it's just not working for me. I constantly talk about how Sona is not working for me. It's not good. Even like the whole like, oh, now we see that she can handle his life because she picked up a gun.
Oh, that was a big what the fuck moment, because I was like, what, you a gangster now with the way you handled the gun? Like, I'm like,
Put them in all their scenes together. Keep Sona together. Put them in all the scenes together, because guess what? It makes it easier for me to fast forward. # sorry, Laura Wright. I'm not watching that shit. It's bad.
Rewatched the episode a few times, and I won't lie, I don't remember Nina picking up the gun.
oh,
Because I just like couldn't pay attention.
it was so ridiculous. I was just like, stop.
But
because I thought she was saving Sonny from the mob violence by keeping him in Nixon Falls. I thought that was like part of the justification, because he wanted to live the simple life and be a little barkeeper, and so she was protecting him.
it's also like, I don't need y'all to keep doing these throwbacks to Nixon Falls. That storyline was awful, and you should want fans to forget it. And you keep doing like, oh, now they're gonna dance in the bar. Now they're gonna be robbed. It's bad. But you know what is good? The way Cynthia Watros rocks those dresses. Because what I'm never gonna do is hate on an actress. And Cynthia came to wardrobe and was like, I don't give a fuck what they're writing for me. I'm gonna look like a baddie every time I come through.
Every time. Oof.
Every time I come through, I'm gonna be a baddie. And guess what? Cynthia's doing it. So shout out to her. And her like going to check wardrobe. Like, I'm gonna look good every time.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, listen, my scripts are insane. So I'm gonna need equally like that level of like hot dress.
Yep.
And they said, we got you. We got
Yep.
you. Yeah. I also like that they put her in Katie both in pink in that scene. The hot pink and then the more subdued. I was like, okay,
I see what you're doing. Because that pink dress was, because a lot of times they like have them in very subdued colors, like grays or blacks or what.
Yeah.
That pink, Cynthia. Hey girl,
Great.
we see you.
She looked great. Hate her character, but she can wear a dress.
Every time.
Mm-mm. I guess I'm up. What's not working for me is this idea that women need saving.
Woo! Preach.
First and foremost, this Liz storyline. Yikes. Liz has played the damsel so many times. We actually like know that she has other range in her. And so I'm hoping that this becomes like a departure from the damsel storyline, and that's why they're like laying it on so thick right now. But I can only like react to what's happening on screen right now. And this like Finn continually pushing shit on Liz without her consent or knowledge, like inviting Chase to come stay at her house without consulting her is so strange. It was so strange to me. And Finn is not John McBain. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the kind of character he is. He's not a rescuer. Like, what actually made Fana work, like Finn and Anna, was that Finn was actually the damsel. That's what made that relationship so endearing, and that's what made it work. And like Anna would like, he would be useful to Anna in different ways, right? Like, she blackmailed him right into helping her, and like all this, he has knowledge with the whole Cassandra stuff, whatever. But like, and I guess maybe that's why they're leaning on this medical detective angle or whatever they're doing. But it's just like, it's not doing him any favors either. This is not a cute look for him, and it's not a cute look for 2022.
Yeah.
So I really hope that it ends up being like Liz is actually her own stalker, and she has to overcome like her past trauma to heal, and like it be about her like taking like control of her life back in a really, really big way. That would be a powerful story to me. Also, this idea of Spencer or Rory saving Trina, right? Because I think there's that kind of debate, like, oh, is it going to be Spencer getting Esme to confess? Or, you know, obviously Rory is going to play some kind of part in investigating Trina's framing. So, like, there's been this kind of debate, like, who's it going to be? Which one? And I was like, I don't want it to be either one of them. They can help if they can find a way to be helpful. Spencer, I don't know. I want you to find a way to be helpful, but I don't know, boo. But
cute, but you dumb.
Yeah, and like Spencer thinks that saving Trina will redeem him, but he actually, his redemption arc is much more complicated than that. And him going in half-cocked and trying to be her sole hero is like, it actually shows where he still needs growth. So I think it's funny. I think it's kind of cute, especially because I know it's going to blow up in his face. And that's like a lesson that he needs. But I really actually want Trina and Joss to take Esme down. I don't even want it to be the moms. I do want the moms to get their hits in. Like, I want everyone to have a round, like doing whatever it is that they need to do to Esme to get their closure. But I want it to be, in the end, I want it to be Trina and Joss, because they are both the people who have suffered the most at her hands, and they are both the people who had her clapped from day one. So the boys can support in all the above storylines. They're allowed to be support, but they do not need to be the heroes.
Everything you said about Liz, the Liz storyline, like your whole thing was like my Sunday sermon. You know what I'm saying? Everything you just said. I hate it. I don't like Finn and Liz as a couple, but I mean, I also don't care enough to, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. I don't like the story more than I don't like them as a couple.
Yeah.
It's just bad. I don't need this for Liz. And so I do hope that this turns around. As for the Trina thing, I have actually seen some like critique around Tabiana as Trina that I don't really care for, around like the changes in Trina. And I think that, I mean, there's some acting choice stuff, but there's also some writing stuff that's happening that I don't really like, and I'm like clocking, which is like, Trina is the person who looked at Cyrus for no and basically was like, you're a little bitch. And he was like, your mom is sewing me up and I have this gun for you. That's what Trina is. Trina was the person who, whenever she saw the police commissioner Jordan, it was on site. Whenever she saw Curtis, it was on site. She was the person who wanted to run back into a warehouse with gunmen to save her dad. She was the person who came up with the plan to take down Esme and Spencer. So she is not a person that needs saving. She is 100% the savior. And I struggle with this because like I love the idea of like a Black girl people wanting to like be that for a Black girl, because we don't see it that often. But which is why I like your point, like, yeah, I want them to try, and I want her to be like, and I got this. Mm-hmm. And so I really do hope, and I hope that the crew conversation with Drew telling Carly like it might not be you, it's actually foreshadowing it for it to be Joss and Trina, because they are formidable on their own, and the boys actually have constantly gotten away. It was the same thing. Cam got in the way at Windermere when they were trying to take down the Stalker storyline. You know what I'm saying? Like, that has always been the issue of any of their plans, has been the boys. And so I'm hopeful that, like you said, that this is a storyline about Trina, and that some of the ways that they have like writing her like turns around. Because I don't want for Trina is to turn into like Emily Quartermain 2.0. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the character Trina is, and she can remain beloved without them having to do that to her.
The only thing I appreciate about Finn and Chase is that it's going to be under surveillance camera, and then we can finally move forward and find out that it's Elizabeth who's talking to herself. I mean, that's the thing, because I felt like the story, I didn't like it last week because it was just moving too slow. And so maybe this is their way of answering and trying to move it forward. But that's it. Finally, a camera's going to come in, it's going to catch her in the act, and then they can move forward and actually figure out Elizabeth's DID.
Yeah.
And maybe your dreams of a DID romance will come true.
Manifesting.
I think that there's also something, and I don't know what y'all think about this, but there's something about GH has done like a very weird job of like what they let the audience in on. So like there are things that like, you know, like it was really necessary for us to know about Esme's connection with Ryan up top, because some of the shit that Spencer had done to Esme in name of his feelings for Trina wouldn't have been as likable or as acceptable if we thought Esme was a decent person. And even when people were like trying to redeem her, they had to like come in very heavy-handed to be like, this is not a redeemable character. You know what I'm saying? Like she does not actually care about Spencer, which is why she had to do the over-exaggerated, like outside of the door, like laughing about the pregnancy test or like, you know, all of that. Which was one of my favorite Avery moments. It was so good. It was so good. And so like there's like even with the whole like idea of like whether or not Spencer had a plan, this plan is so stupid. We actually didn't need to have 2 weeks of not knowing what he was doing.
Right.
Like you could have brought us in to like something. It wasn't actually necessary. With Liz, it's time to bring us in on something.
Yes.
Like it's time to bring the audience in on something. Which is like almost, and this is like actually a transition point, like which is what happened with like Nina and Willow and Nell. Like we all called that shit like 2 years ago. So now, you know what I mean?
It's like it's okay for the audience to guess things because we're soap viewers and like we're gonna guess things,
right?
But then you have to play it out in a way that's surprising. You have to like surprise us in the execution, and thus far, at least with the Wiley's adult story and the maternity thing, that's not hitting. It's not hitting so far because the most interesting part about that story is Harmony. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing that's really working.
It was similar to like Nixon Falls was so bad. I just hate that people try to pretend like it wasn't bad. But like we understood where that whole story was going. Yeah. And the person who like turned it around was Peter fucking August. The storyline was so bad that we were happy and laughed to see Peter August. Like that was a surprise and execution. And so like those are the things like like there can be a surprise on the execution because we know what the story is going to be. Yeah. So, which is a great transition point.
Yes. Let us transition to doing a deep dive into who's done it better, who's done a maternity reveal better than Alexis Davis and Sam McCall.
And that answer would be nobody. And we're gonna talk about how it relates to Nina and Willow and Nell. But when you do things like this, like when you bring in a character and you connect them to a family, it's supposed to make them important. So it's really important that character be connected to a family that people care about. And so that's what happened. It gave, so the Sam and Alexa stuff gave Sam a family and cemented her on the canvas outside of Jason. It also made Sam a Cassadine. Like that is like a huge thing. And we don't really see her interact with Cassadines that much. I do appreciate when it's like thrown in like every now and then. When we had Tyler as Nicholas, we saw it more with that inappropriate Kim for cousins. And then we also saw, but like Victor being like, I called you. Those things are like really important. She's like, yeah, okay, you called me, whatever. And back when we were on Cassadine Island, it was like important because everybody had a Cassadine with them. So that like those are the ways it shows up. So it also wasn't just like a plot point, it actually played on relationship because those two had like very strong relationship points prior to the plot coming in. So if you remember, the first time we really saw Sam and Alexis at odds is when Sam lost baby Lila and blamed Alexis. So that was a good old soap trope of parentage being revealed through a health crisis. Sonny found out that Christina was his daughter because before Ned had been masquerading as Christina's dad, and Christina needed some stem cells. And so Alexis was like, Sam, you need to like induce labor so that Christina can live. And then Sam went into premature labor and blamed Alexis. So they had beef, right? And then in another sweeps, which was the pandemic or the epidemic sweeps, we see like everybody needed like access to this cure. So Sam's brother needed it, but the dose went to Alexis. And so when Sam's brother died, she blamed Alexis for it. And in that sweeps moment, we saw, and what grew from that is like the Sam's brother, she found out he was like the people who raised her were not her blood family. And then we found out when Alexis was damn near about to die that she had given up a daughter. So most of us who watch soaps knew what was going to happen, but the way they did it was interesting. And there wasn't like some manufactured drama between the two of them. And so then when they finally came together, Sam found out Alexis was her mom first before Alexis found out. She was like, I don't fuck with Alexis, so I don't want her to know. So her and Jason held that back. And then Sam had a health crisis. They thought she was going to die. And so Jason told Alexis, and that caused drama for Jason. So it was like so intertwined. And I think the Willow Harmony, Nina, Nelsa feels really thrown together. Like it doesn't feel planned. It doesn't feel like it has a point. When Willow and Nina are related, how does that submit Willow onto the canvas in a way that she's not already? Right. It also, again, like the drama is like so manufactured. So now what we see is like Nina going after Willow when Michael's sitting there. And it looks like Willow is the person with the least amount of resources and the least amount of access in that whole situation. So Nina going after her really feels like bullying more so than anything else. Because if you were really trying to go toe to toe, you would go toe to toe with Michael. You are like literally like you have zeroed in on Willow as the weak link, and like now you're bullying her. And it's just not a good look. I mean, I understand why it's happening because like it's to manufacture that drama. And I think that we saw some manufactured like drama with Sam and Alexis, but it worked because like leading up into the reveal, but it worked because those characters had such a history of beef. And so this might have been a more interesting plot point for Willow and Nina if this would have happened around the time where they were having beef in with the school situation with Charlotte. Or if they would have kept that same energy with each other after the fact, but they've never, because Sam and Alexis never fuck with each other. Sam always had that energy for Alexis. The other thing Alexis did was like defend Manny Ruiz for like who had like tried to attempted to like assault Sam and had done all these evil things and blamed it on a brain tumor. And so Alexis like defended him because everyone needs a good defense lawyer. And so like those things were happening, those things were dramatic. And so the payoff of them being related and then like actually building a relationship where they loved each other was really good. And that relationship was rocky because don't forget like Sam slept with Rick. But that's not what's happening with Willow and Nina. And so when we say that Sam and Alexis did it better, we literally mean that Sam and Alexis did it better. And my God, how many times is Nina gonna how many times is Nina gonna betray her kid in court for Wiley?
Which kid? Which time?
Nell, she threw her under the bus for Wiley, and now she's about to throw Willow under the bus for Wiley. It comes full circle. Break that necklace into 3, Nina.
Oh Lord.
It's not even supposed to be her necklace, I bet. I'm still thinking.
Somebody called it a Claire's necklace.
It is a Claire's necklace.
Oh my God, not even Tiffany, Claire. My God.
I
Not
did
even the icing?
I spent a lot of time my freshman year of high school trying to find a 3-way heart necklace. So they're very hard to find, very rare. So good thing she's rich.
Y'all thought of the Claire's necklace, not even the icing. Claire's? Damn.
Hey, I like
double homicide.
Affordable jewelry. I'm iced in it all the time, but just like, I don't know. It's not even the way she figures it. She must have multiples of them because the gold would have rubbed off by now.
So Sam and Alexis.
Oh, you gotta take care of fake necklaces. You can't just be like doing any old thing with it. Oh no, sorry. Back to the point.
we can link people to some tips later about fake gold. Because you don't want it turning your skin green. You don't want
right. That's another
point. God.
Yeah, I had like 100% check. Sam and Alexis did it so much better. I really liked your point about the manufactured drama. And I think the stakes were so much higher between Sam and Alexis. Like the first of all, everyone's so tired of Wiley and people fighting over Wiley. So it's not compelling. And it's been going on for so long with different sets of people. It's like Michael all over again, but like less compelling. And that, I mean, everyone got Michael custody fatigue, like everyone got that when it was happening, but it's like so much worse now. At least maybe that's recency bias, but it feels very different. And so the stakes were higher with Sam and Alexis, and like they were both likable and rootable, obviously not equally to every person, right? Everyone's going to have their preferences on the kind of characters they like, but they were both written very well-rounded characters who were very different, but in all of their conflicts, you could see each of their sides, right? And one was frequently more right than the other, but like emotionally you could see it, right? Like obviously Alexis didn't cause Sam's miscarriage, but you could see why Sam felt that way. And also they're just both powerhouse performers too. And so their performances were like, I rewatched the scene where Alexis is at Sam's bedside right after she finds out that she's Sam's mother, and Sam wakes up and says, "Mom," and I was like immediately just like, like, could not make it through the scene. Like I'm tearing up right now, because they're both like knowing all the history and also know where they end up going. So they're both just legends, they're both daytime legends. And it's not to say anything about Cynthia or Katie, but like they're like, Nina is not Alexis, right? Like Nina doesn't have the grounding, that Alexis had been on the show for like almost 10 years. And I don't know. I mean, I also just transparently like Alexis more than I like Nina. So I mean, that's part of it too. But And I just like, I think it speaks a lot that I continue to praise Nancy's performances, because like Nancy IRL drives me fucking bonkers. Like, she really drives me cray cray. I have to mute her on Twitter, but I cannot deny her as a performer. She's excellent.
No, right.
And so just no one, I mean, I would say even maternity reveals, like, I think no one's doing the mother-daughter relationship quite like Kelly and Nancy, and that they're like still doing it. They're both such different characters, but like they bring so much balance to each other. And I almost feel bad for comparing Willow and Nita to them. Like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, God, they're just in a different realm. Like, they shouldn't be compared to anyone.
Yeah, I have to agree. I agree with y'all, but I don't want to talk about it too much because I just don't like Nancy. So I would say
fair.
I mean, it is an interesting comparison and contrast. I think Nina just going off on Willow on Spot is just like annoying. Like, it's not like, it's very transparent and horrible. And that's why I was like, why are you making me cheer Willow right now? Because I'm just like, because that's how like irritating it is to have Nina do that. Just go for her. So it's like, so Willow, you're trying to put out this newspaper article about me. I was like, it isn't just Willow. It's actually Michael's idea, but you're focusing on Willow. It's like, it's annoying. Stop it. Go away. She's like an annoying bee at this point. So yeah, but I agree, the analysis is perfect, and that's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to focus on Nancy.
That's valid. That's
yes. I also appreciate what you brought in about the stakes, Sandra. Like, we are literally, we're not talking about custody of Wiley right now. We're talking about grandparents' visitation. Like, what is happening? Y'all are about to tear each other apart. Y'all are like, Michael is about to bring Avery into this shit, and like all of this for grandparents' visitation. And I'm sorry, but nobody is thinking about what's best for this kid, for him to see y'all at odds in this way. Nobody is thinking about that.
Nina's going after it like it's a custody suit. Like, she's like, I'm going to prove that I'm a better person than you and Michael. And I'm like,
it's also, it's because they did such a bad job in the aftermath of Nixon Falls that people even think that this is rootable against Michael and Willow. Even if it was just on some petty shit, I wouldn't want you around my kid either. Like, okay, it's petty, sure. And now let's move on. Yeah, it's petty, sure. And then like the idea, like, I think that there was like all this uproar about Carly saying that Wiley didn't miss Nina or whatever. And people were like, well, the last time that they were together, like, Wiley ran to Nina. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this kid did, but guess what? He probably doesn't remember her now. How many kids do you know that you spent a lot of time with when they were like babies, and you see them now, you're like, oh, I used to be around you all the time when you were a baby, and the kid is like, okay,
I don't know you.
Don't know you.
I don't like you.
So,
I'm gonna tell you.
It's also like annoying because we don't see Wiley. So even with the Michael fatigue of like him being like Michael was like a main stay on the canvas when he was a kid. And so I mean, I never cared about him, but I think that there were people who were like invested in him as a character and as a kid. And GH does this thing where they like pour so much into like a kid and then they disappear them.
Right. Like, I need them to, like, Wheezy. Wheezy had a great personality.
She was my favorite.
She's a favorite, and now she's gone. I don't see her. I'm like, I want her to give the side eye to Austin and be like, you ain't my daddy. Peter's my daddy. Where are you at?
Finelli's my daddy.
Finelli's my daddy, or anybody,
So yeah, it's just like the stakes are just not there. And they're just not the same kind of characters, to Sandra's point. It's just not, So we'll see what the reveal looks like. We'll see, because like it's like the boom and bust cycle of this is that there'll be the reveal, and then there'll be like the drama between them before they get together as mother and daughter. So that means that we have to see all of that.
Yikes. Well, when you put it like that, I'm depressed. I won't lie. That's very depressing to me.
God.
I'm really more interested on how it's going to impact Harmony, really. Like,
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean for her?
Because I've just grown to like her even more, to be honest.
Yep.
People like think, because that's the other thing, people like try to pretend like this is the end of like a redemption arc, or like that we were wrong for like wanting to redeem her. I actually see, it's not even that like about liking or approving, but I actually see the trajectory of her character. Like this does not change like her having the redemption arc. This does not change like her actually being sorry about what happened with Alexis's daughters. This doesn't change any of this. What we have seen is like this person be really desperate to like change their life and make decisions based on that desperation. So like Neil was holding secrets about Harmony that could change the trajectory of her life, and so she killed him. It's not that this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You could not like it, but it doesn't change like who I thought she was as a character.
You know what? Her trajectory is playing off way better than Peter's. Right?
Yes.
Because like Peter had a pass and he was trying to prove himself to Maxie and it just wasn't working. We didn't like him and he was annoying. Harmony's doing the same thing and we love her for it.
I mean, it's also Inga's range, to be clear.
Yeah.
Inga's amazing. And I think it's something about too, like, especially with Brendan, I think with Neil, people, obviously there were people who are attached to Neil. Obviously I was not one of them. So I was like, this does not impact my feelings about her. But with Brendan, it was like, oh, this guy is trash. Let's take out the trash. Sometimes you need characters that are just going to take out the trash. Like I had a kill list for when Ryan was like set on the loose, but now I'm transferring my kill list to Harmony. Sorry, Smoltz, you're on the list.
And like I said, I like the actor
David who plays Smoltz. I hope you get work elsewhere.
Maybe Smoltz has a not creepy brother or something, but you gotta go.
Smoltz, Mo's son, when he comes back, he's on the list.
Mo's son got to go.
Mo's son's gotta go.
He shouldn't even really come back. He's just like
the only reason you should be coming back is so we can kill list, Adam. And then also that little motherfucker that projected.
Oh, the Chromecast kid.
The Chromecast kid.
Yeah.
See, I want Harmony's arc to be like, I kill shitty men. I know, and y'all know I love killing Eve, so that's my jam right there. I want a little Villanelle arc for Harmony. That's what I want.
And I love to see it.
I guess we slid into hot takes.
Hot takes. I was just gonna say, does anyone have any free for all hot takes? I have one. I think I might only have one.
Uh-oh.
So, in the words of the great TikTok philosopher, I want to say this about the Sabrina fandom. Mm-hmm. Y'all weak in the knees. Stand up. Every time Spencer does anything, people are like, that's Bay again. Listen, I get it. I am a head Spencer apologist. Somebody made me a background that said Avery loved the bear. And shout out to them because Avery did love that bear.
She did. She liked
it. She liked that bear, and she liked Nina's necklaces. So get my baby her things. However, Spencer be on bullshit, and he does the very bare minimum, and then he bats those eyelashes, and y'all are still talking about that orange. Stand up. Stand up.
Those eyelashes failed this week. They did not happen.
Only for you, though. Only for you.
Apparently. Because I'm just like.
People was at Fuck Them Kids meme with Rory after Spencer batted them eyelashes.
And I am not. I'm like, we can't throw away Rory. We haven't even had him yet.
Right.
Y'all
weak in the knees. Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up.
That's my hot take.
Yeah. I was telling Javier the other day, I was like, now you know how I feel, because he was ranting about the same thing. And I was like, now you know how I feel when my straight friends try to talk to me about their relationships. I'm just like, we need to come to Jesus moment, because what's going on here?
I've always said, it's shameful for me that men are trash and straight women are raccoons. And we just like sifted through.
Wow.
And I love Spencer. He's not there. He's not, complete. Like, my child is, he needs some growing, and I love him. But y'all gotta stand up.
Yes.
He can't be forgiven. He can't be forgiven this quickly.
No. No. Because it's all in his head at this point.
My child is a work in progress. My child is a work in progress, and he's got a lot of work to do.
Not.
So, I think that's part of what my reaction was to, like, people saying Spencer's going to be the hero. I was just like, no. I'm clear about who Spencer is.
I put out a list of what he needs to redeem himself, and it's still, in effect.
Can you share the list with us?
Oh, the tweet where I said he needs to save her life. He needs to publicly, disown Esme. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. Yeah, he's not on the good Trina list right now. No.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. Speaking of my soap children, I have a new child. Gender troubling, immersion blending, ghost hunting Aiden Spencer is my child.
Aw.
I'm claiming him.
I knew it.
I've loved Aiden for a long time. And it's okay. I can accept that he's not a Cassadine. I can love a Liz and Lucky baby, obviously, because they were one of my OG ships. But I've always loved cute little baking, Aiden just doing his own gender thing. I've always loved him. It's one of the reasons why I don't fuck with Nina.
It is the top reason I don't fuck with Nina.
Encouraging Charlotte or like apologizing for Charlotte, bullying Aiden. But I loved him talking to Lucy about the universe. I was like, oh my God, I feel so seen. And then on top of that, him being like, Grandma Laura, I have a little cooking experiment for Grandpa Kevin, which I thought was very sweet that I called him Grandpa Kevin. But also I was like, I do love an immersion blender. Like, I love it. And you know what? That's the kind of person I would ask to be spoiled with too. So
yeah,
look at him. He's got good taste. I love him. So that's my child now.
I have one of those. An emulsion blender.
They're so good.
Oh. I do love Aiden. Aiden is like, I go hard on Nina, and Aiden is actually the reason why. it was like I didn't really have any feelings about Nina. Like I was whatever, she's there. She was kind of funny because I thought Michelle Stafford was kind of funny. But then when she like was apologizing and low-key encouraging Charlotte to bully Aiden, she's been dead to me since then. And it's only gotten worse.
All right.
Protect Aiden at all costs. Aiden, get in the car. You can sit in the front seat because Spencer still has to sit in the back. He just got out of the trunk. So we just let him out of the trunk. He's been there for weeks.
You mean you let him in the car? Because he's still walking as far as I'm concerned. He needs to walk home and think about his life. So
everyone's car is a little different. But yes, he was definitely relegated to a
backseat
/ trunk where Victor was keeping Valentine for like a long time. So it's rank back there. It's gross. What else? Oh, Trina and Ava.
Art.
I love them. I loved getting to see them in the gallery. Like we'd already seen them. I was just like happy also to see Trina having scenes in the gallery and not in the PCPD. That's just not this. That's not just doesn't hit right. I loved their gallery scenes. I loved seeing them like hang up the art together, just like the actions that they were doing. And I loved Ava kind of like, sheepishly recounting her like, oh, I might have had Sonny kidnapped, as like she doesn't say things with her whole chest when she's with Trina the way that she does when she's with Nicholas.
Right.
She canceled that vow renewal with her whole chest.
She sure did. And
her whole body in the frame.
Right.
The frame, the first the arms up when she's walking away, and then
and your bed is
some blankets for that bed because it's gonna be cold. She has more chemistry with that doorway than with Nicholas. Like she always has chemistry with everyone. It's never like lacking, but I was, it's just like goes to show where the chemistry is coming from. Cause Marcellus was trying to do that. Like, he does his better performances with her. I'll give that to him because how could you not act attracted to Maura West? But when she got that doorway, I was like, okay, we know where the comes from. Like that, I'm still, and her outfit, just everything. Maura.
Yeah. That's my favorite outfit with her. With the leather jacket, because that's when we know power right there.
Mm-hmm. Loved it. Loved her. Mm-hmm. Marcellus looked so fucking stupid sitting down to eat his adult Lunchable that his teen mistress made him. He looks fucking stupid. His face, just like everything. I was just like, you look like an idiot. Get out of here.
So Lunchable.
It was so bad. Like, why was he so impressed? I'm like, is this cheese and crackers? And that's it? No garnish? Like nothing?
No caviar, no nothing.
Nothing. This is like that old, like, you remember when you would get like the cracker stick and the fake cheese? That's what Esme made him. They were. But we're not princes.
Right?
We're not royalty. And Marcellus was like, this is my favorite. Are these club crackers, sir?
They were.
It was just, and then I'm like, he's like, you must have done it. Oh, Ava must have done it. You have servants, sir. Who cares who did it? Anyway.
I do not see Ava putting together a charcuterie plate for anyone. People make charcuterie plates for her.
Please don't call that a charcuterie plate because it just was not. It was cheese and crackers. No garnish.
Adult Lunchable.
That was beautiful. You got any more? Or is it my turn?
I think that's it. I think that's what I'm gonna end on. I'm gonna end on that.
I had some little hot takes, but I'm like, why isn't Brando noticing Sasha's mood swings? Because she's straight
Because
flash.
he don't know her.
I was like, I don't know her that well, but don't come at me with that attitude about not inviting Sonny to some place. I'm like, look. And he's like totally ignoring that. I don't understand.
He's just like, ladies, am I right? So moody.
You know, I call Sasha Pillamina. So that's our only name to me until they do better by her.
And I seriously hope it's not Nina that notices that, because she had a couple of close calls, and I don't want her to be the one to save Rasha. I really don't. Sam, why are you reading this dude's phone and you don't even know how fast he's gonna come and catch you? It was so obvious what she was doing. It was so reckless. I mean, that's not what an investigator does in the middle of the day, snooping in somebody's phone. That was stupid.
I do love how she immediately copped to it, though. She was like,
Right.
I was forwarding this email to me.
Yeah. Guys, I couldn't even believe it. He was like, wait, you were just, she was like, yeah, I was doing that. Y'all was taking too long.
He was so hurt.
I love Samantha.
She's like, it's not like I was stealing government secrets.
No, but you broke his heart. You his trust is gone.
Now he's gonna have to use that shower set. Oh darn.
Right? And then, I'm just gonna have to come in and console him.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Dante rising.
Right. So yeah, I think that was it. I'm hurt for Dante right now.
Yeah. I did love the little Sante scenes leading up.
Yeah, they were cute.
They were very cute. I loved when she came to the PCPD and he was like about to be all over her. Then he was like, "Oh, I'm at work. Oops." They were very cute. They were very cute. I appreciate them having drama.
Mm-hmm.
That's like about, I mean, it's about obviously the other storylines, but it's also about their relationship and like key conflicts that there are going to continue to arise between them because of their professions and because of their approaches also to justice.
Also, Dante did make the huge pitch to defund the PCPD. He was like, justice and what we're doing ain't the same thing. And I was like, tell me more.
Right.
Okay.
You better speak in my language over there. Quit your job, Dante.
ACAB Dante.
ACAB Dante.
That's what I want to see. I know I'll never get to see it, but I would
know. See it. I would like to see it. Quit your job, Dante.
It's the only thing. It's your only flaw. I'm sure you have other ones, but that's the most glaring one. But it's a good thing you're cute. A little bite-sized snack. I also love the building Dante Rory bromance.
Yeah.
And how like Rory just like wants Dante's approval so badly. And I was like, oh, my bite-sized snack. Training up my other bite-sized snack. I love it. They're so cute.
Yes. Rory is very handsome.
He's all right. Dante's good.
All right. Sandra, do you want to take us into the preview of the upcoming week?
Ooh, sure. So we have a little bit of everything coming up this week. We'll have like a tiny bit of Liz's mystery, right? So I think we're just gonna get spoon-fed a little bit of that up until they're ready actually to move the plot, hopefully around May sweeps, but we'll have Chase is surprised while on surveillance. And I know some of y'all out there are very thirsty for it to be something sexy with like Liz's altar or something. Who knows? What do I know? I don't know if Chase is like that. It would be more interesting if he was, but he will be surprised while on surveillance. And then at the end of the week, Elizabeth and Finn consider the possibilities. Who knows? And at this point, who cares? Show us that she has DID already, please. We'll have a little bit of the, I don't know what to call this storyline now. I'm calling it 20s, 30s scene dating mishaps. But Britt and Brad go over her society setup matches. This is a Monday's episode that was originally supposed to be Friday. Britt overhears Drew's conversation while she waits for her date. And then on that same day, Maxie and Spinelli have an awkward cross. So clearly, we're getting some Spixie breadcrumbs, which I am pleased about. And I saw some rumors that these are unsubstantiated, but that Britt's date might be Spinelli that she gets set up with through the matchmaking. And it would make sense as like Spinelli would be in like a matchmaking site, like he's been divorced or whatever, broken up with Ellie for quite some time. He's talked about being lonely and he blah blah whatever. So what I'm hoping is that it's like a little like wacky Britt and Spinelli. I don't know if they'll actually like be romantic together. That would be very strange. But for whatever, I think that the dynamic will be like Britt and Spinelli, Maxie, Austin. I want there to be a little switcheroo.
Right.
So I continue to hold that Maxie and Austin are just like the couple to get us to where they're going to end up being, because nobody wants this.
Right.
And they did put Kelly and Roger together at the GH convention. So I don't know. Here's hoping. But that's just, there'll be a small little, I'm sure, comedic relief in the middle of the week, which is much needed. There'll be some Hat Daddy stuff. I know you're so excited.
Tanya's favorite.
Try to get this out of the way before we talk about the other things. So the sneak peek scene from Monday is actually Curtis and Selena Wu at the pier, and it's Selena revealing that Marshall was never in witness protection. That's not a surprise. We kind of already put that together, but it's confirmed because her people weren't able to find anything on him in witness protection, and she was like, "My people don't fail." It means that he was never in it. We also know Jordan and Curtis will be at the pier on Monday as well. Later on in the week, we have Curtis asks for what he's owed, and Jordan is curious about what happened at the Savoy. And Marshall makes a big decision.
Is it that he's going to be the jazz consultant for Aurora?
Jazz. I don't know, and I quite frankly don't care.
Right.
I know I've already said that at least once this episode, and I might say it again.
Well, he is on contract now, so there will be lots of Hat Daddy.
I know.
Every time Hat Daddy comes on TV, Sandra says Tanya's gonna hate it. Every time.
I appreciate it. I do, because I'm just like,
I hope he finally decides to say what the fuck is going on with him, but I know that's too much to ask for.
yeah.
We get a little bit of the Ice Princess storyline. So Monday we have Anna revealing what she found to Robert and Laura. We know from the previews that they're at the Devane Manor, aka the Chandler Mansion for all my children. Which is nice. We haven't seen Anna's home in a really long time. And we also know Valentine's going to be showing up. Valentine apologizes to Anna on Tuesday, and there was an interview in Soap Opera Digest with James Patrick Stewart where he talked about reuniting with Anna and kind of like how layered and complicated that is. So there's definitely going to be tension between them, but also, you know, a little bit of romance, which is basically the Vanna, you know, equation. So looking forward to that. And we'll be seeing more and more of Valentine as the weeks go on. So he's still filming his Disney Plus show, but he's coming to like GH to film at the GH from like 5 a.m. to 9 every morning. Bless him for doing that, and bless Finola more than anyone for doing that.
I just love that we have a Finola Anna romance that we're excited about. I just want to take a minute to like appreciate that we just celebrated her 37th anniversary on the show, and we still are excited for new romance for her. What a queen.
What a queen. We love her. New romance, and it's like one of the most popular, like highly anticipated romances on the show, and like wildly popular and setting the standard for the other couples on the show. So Finola, nobody is doing it like her, and nobody ever will. She's just the moment. She's all the moments and the clearance.
And she's just timeless. Ugh, what a queen. Let me not get on my Finola gushing. Please continue.
I mean, you never have to apologize for that. And then on Wednesday, we'll have Laura revealing her latest suspicions. This storyline is probably going to move slow because I think we're at the point in filming where Charles Shaughnessy was out for his hip replacement. And I don't know what like the timeline was around that, but I think that about matches up. So I know that Victor said he was going out of town. But so don't be surprised if this storyline kind of gets petered out in like little teaspoon sizes. Wiley's adults. We have Drew and Michael talking as they spar. I'm assuming that's at Volanino's. Alexis makes a horrific discovery at the pier. I hope it's Brendan. Harmony and Willow bond. Harmony comes close to revealing the truth. Nina warns Ava. So I'm assuming that has something to do with the Avery aspect of both the trial and this upcoming news story. And then Sonny reasserts himself as the head of his territory. Gangster Sonny, Mo keeps talking about.
Get out of here, Mike Reeves.
And finally, Alexis asks Harmony what is bothering her so much. And then finally, the sex tape storyline. Preparing myself to laugh a lot. So Monday, we have Elizabeth and Portia clashing at work. It could be about the kids. It could also be about like something that's leading into Liz's mystery, or probably like insight into both characters. We don't know what they're clashing about. Who knows? But I think we've speculated before, like, is it about Trina? It could be about something else. Tuesday, Britt and Spencer have a heart-to-heart. Maybe he's like, so when you were like faking pregnancies and like scamming people and all this stuff, like how might someone catch you doing it? And then also Jordan and Portia are at odds. So we're going to get our Jordan Portia confrontation scene that we've been waiting for, both about, I'm assuming it has to do with Trina's arrest, but also I hope that it has something to do with the basement revelation, or if that comes into play at all. Wednesday is a full day. So we have Nicholas offering Esme some encouragement. Who cares? Unless it's like getting us closer to the end of Neva, I don't care. Things escalate when Jocelyn asks Cameron what he meant. So we know from Soap Opera Digest that Cameron, sweet simple Cameron, is gonna almost spill his sweet simple cousin's secret, trying to defend him, because Trina and Joss are gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Spencer? And so to get them off this, off the scent of his master plan, Spencer's gonna say something awful about Joss, and Cam punches him, and Rory will arrest both of them. This is happening on Wednesday.
Interesting.
So that plan went off the rails in record time.
In record time, in a week, in less than a week, this plan is already shit. And so Thursday, the spoiler is Cameron and Spencer bemoan their predicament. But this was like actually what had me thinking last week. I was like, oh, after we found out that Spencer had a plan, I was like, God damn it, he's gonna confide in Cam, because I knew about the spoiler about them having a scene together, and I knew about these ones before we found out about the arrest, and I was like, God damn it, not Cameron. Of all the people to bring into your plan, why Cameron? So
Cameron, ruiner of plans.
Both of them are ruiner of plans. Cam just blurts out everything. Actually, so does Spencer. Spencer ruined all of Esme's plans by running around after Trina instead of doing what he was supposed to do and stalking Ava. Like, these two are dumb. But I'm really looking forward to the messiness of them being arrested by Rory. You know that I'm mad at these kids when I'm excited for them to be arrested. Now, that's not usually my style, but I am looking forward to this. And yeah, that's the week. That's what we got going on next week. It's gonna be, sex tape storyline still front burner, and Wiley's adults, and then everything else kind of feels sprinkled within. Hat Daddy might be bigger than I'm seeing it, but this is kind of like the pre-sweet lull.
Yeah. There was something I had written down that I forgot to say, which it made me think about like Nicholas and Spencer, which was like Nicholas was like talking to Ava, and he was like, I sided with you before over my son. Did my son do that? Nobody told you to do that.
Nobody told you.
And even if you did do that, nobody told you it had to look like that. It did not have to look like you not getting him a lawyer and not supporting him and telling him he was dead to you. Like, it didn't have to look like any of that. So I'm interested to see. It felt like Nicholas was like trying to like signal that he might have had some sort of plan. And the only plan that could be worse than the dum-dums is that dum-dum.
Yes.
So, I'm still here for Ick, aka Esme and Nick. That's what I'm hoping. That's my ship.
Oh God.
Shout out to Susie. That's my Ick is my ship. And I'm ready for it to set sail. Free Ava.
Free Ava. Free Ava. So, another messy, but not yet messy enough week at General Hospital.
I noticed in all of that, no one has uncovered any evidence to say
no. You're like, so where is the part where we are investigating?
No.
Like this?
No.
Just like
literally. Y'all
literally
just get yourself arrested. Okay.
Brick and Spinelli have been bested by a teen psychopath with a burner phone. All right.
Also, like, Spencer, you literally just got out of prison, sir.
Going back, are we gonna actually see him in jail?
I hope so.
I hope when they bemoan their predicament, they're in.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they're in lockup just bickering at each other for like a whole episode. That's what I want.
And then Rory goes in and be like, "You privileged little boys."
I'm gonna be like, he's gonna be like, what do Joss and Trina see in y'all?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're supposed to help Trina and you're really doing nothing?
Well, and like they both have prior records. So
yeah, no,
they're just be getting out of this. I don't think they're gonna just be getting out of this. Like William said something to that effect of like, they both have records, so this could have an impact. And we also know that Spencer could still get in trouble for his little unsanctioned furlough from Spring Ridge. So
yeah. Somebody has to explain to me why Trina hasn't already told her lawyer about that.
Yes.
Because she loves him. That's why.
It's not good enough.
No.
I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that's why she hasn't told her. But she said, I'm not. She said, I'm gonna, if that's how I'm gonna get off. And he said, or she said something like,
I'm not gonna go to jail for you.
I'm not gonna go to jail for you. And he said, I don't expect you to.
Yeah.
So that's obviously gonna come up again. And so I can see that being one of the conflicts that comes up in May sweeps is her just, her struggling with herself about whether or not she's actually going to do that, what she's threatened to do. I don't think that she will, but I think that Spencer might have to put it upon himself to come forward, would be my prediction. That's the drama that I want from the storyline. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what we got.
Something like that.
Okay.
Any more takes on our way out?
I hope Harmony murders someone else this week.
I love it. Tomorrow, well, not Sunday, Easter Sunday, we're going to be doing Nicholas Chavez Appreciation Day online. So there's going to be a little bit of trivia, which I need to develop. And then there's going to be a Discord watch party. Where we watch some of his top scenes, and then we're going to do a spaces and just, give Nicholas Chavez his flowers for playing our very complicated, sweet, simple prince, Spencer Cassadine.
Somebody do an eyelash montage and I will tune in.
Noted.
All right, all. Well, what a day.
What a day.
We have recorded.
Bye.
Bye.